The Pixel 6 and Pixel 6 Pro were officially unveiled by Google today at their Pixel Fold launch. And these devices look ready to compete with the big boys. Hi, welcome to Zgadgetreview. Google's Pixel 6 and Pixel 6 Pro are official. They were unveiled today at Google's event. And right off the bat, the pricing for the devices are $599 for the Pixel 6, starting at 128 gigs, and $899 for the Pixel 6 Pro, starting as well at 128 gigs. Now, both devices are pretty similar. There are some differences though, and that's where this $300 price difference comes in. Let's start with some of the internals. So the Pixel 6 starts, like I said, at 128 gigs of storage, goes up to 256 gigs of storage, and it has 8 gigs of RAM. While the Pixel 6 Pro, and this is why one of the reasons why the jump in price, starts as well at 128 gigs, has a second option of 256 gigs of storage, and goes all the way up to 512 gigs of storage. RAM is 12 gigs. So there you have a difference between each device of about 4 RAMs, which is why the Pixel 6 Pro is a Pro device and is more expensive. Now, the curious thing is that when you go to Google's website to look for the device, so if you wanted to buy the 512 gig version of the Pixel 6 Pro, it's not there for some reason. If you wanted to get the Pixel 6 Pro at 256 gigs, the price goes up to $999. Now, if we go to the Pixel 6 device, you can get the 128 gig version, like I said, for $599, or the 256 gig version for $699. You have 3 options to get the device. You can either go and buy it unlocked, you can go through Verizon, or you can buy it through Google Fi. Now, another big difference is the sizes and the type of screens that these devices have. The Pixel 6 has a 6.4-inch 1080p OLED screen that goes up to 90 Hz refresh rates and is just a regular flat screen. For the Pixel 6 Pro, we have 6.7 inches, 1440p, up to 120 Hz refresh rates, and the screen is slightly curved. Now, the Pixel 6 Pro isn't 120 Hz refresh rates all the time. They're doing the same thing of that Apple is doing with their devices, which is variable refresh rates. So you can go as low as 10 Hz all the way to 120 Hz, depending on what you're doing on the device. Both devices also have an under-display fingerprint sensor, and then the other difference is the size of the battery. The Pixel 6 has a 4600 milliamp hour battery, while the Pixel 6 Pro has a 5000 milliamp hour battery. So there's a difference on battery as well. But I will say that the biggest difference between both devices is the camera, and is that camera module that makes the Pixel 6 Pro so appealing. So for the Pixel 6 Pro, on the back we have a 50 megapixel wide. Then in the middle, we have a 12 megapixel ultra wide, and then we have a 48 megapixel telephoto lens. And this lens is kind of what Sony did with their newest Xperia device. There is an actual lens that is a telephoto lens. It's not a digital thing, it's not a software thing, it's an actual lens that will expand as you take pictures. The front-facing camera also is different in both devices. The Pixel 6 gives you an 8 megapixel ultra-wide front-facing camera, while the Pixel 6 Pro gives you an 11.1 megapixel ultra-wide camera. Both devices shoot video at 4K at either 30 frames per second or 60 frames per second. So those are the biggest difference in the devices, and the reason why there is a difference between $599 and $899. So why there's a $300 gap between these devices. Some of the other things that are going to be available with the Pixel 6 is a new version of Real Tone. This is something that Google had talked about before, where cameras aren't really calibrated for people of color. And they went into a lot of detail on how they're going to improve this. I think they did this about a year ago. And they're showing now what these images are going to look like. And they do show you a huge contrast between a camera that does not have this feature and a camera that does have this feature, and how natural and nice the images look. Another thing that we knew that was coming was Magic Eraser. This is going to allow you to delete things in an image that you don't want. So if you take a picture of something and there's someone there that you don't want it to be there, a photobomber, a person that is kind of in the way of your shot, you can actually go and remove it. And it's actually really easy to do. All you do is paint the thing or person that you want to remove, and the device will do the rest for you. Of course, we need to wait to see how this is going to look like, what this is going to look like in real life, because based on the demos, they make it seem very easy and really nice, like there's no artifacts on the image or anything like that. But truth is that probably, Magic Eraser isn't going to be that amazing all the time. I'm sure there's going to be things that Magic Eraser isn't going to be able to erase. Another thing that it showed was face and blur, and this is something that we also knew was coming. We just didn't know how it was going to work. But now that we know, it is simple. When you take an image and the camera detects that there is a face, it is going to use a secondary camera to also take an image. That way, if your face is blurred for some reason, it is going to use the information on the other camera to try and make that picture sharp and show your face. Of course, so far the examples that we have seen, that the picture is, I would say, soft in the face. I wouldn't call it blurred. And so I'm wondering how this is going to work in real life use, because there is a huge difference between having a face that's super blurred, like if you're moving like this and your face is blurred, versus you turn and your face is just kind of soft because it's in the moment of turning. So we'll see how this works once the device comes out or is in people's hands. The device won't be shipping with a charger, but it will actually come with a USB-C to regular USB converter in the box. So if you don't have a USB-C charger, at least they give you the option to use an older USB charger, which is better than not giving you any options. Another thing that they showed off was the capability to translate within the device. So Tensor is going to be this super powerful chip, as we know, and is going to allow you to do live translation. They did a demo with Mary Kondo, I think is the name. Sorry if I'm getting it right. The lady that declutters people's houses. She had a TV show on Netflix where they actually conduct an interview with her, and she's actually speaking in Japanese very fast, and the device is keeping up with her speech.
完全な感想ですが、あまりにも完璧に翻訳されているので驚いています。
I'm surprised that it's translated so perfectly.
This is actually pretty cool to see if it really does work like this, because one of the downsides of trying to translate someone when they're speaking is that if you speak too fast, the device might not be able to keep up with what you're saying. And then you had to slow down, and then you got to pass the device back and forth. And that kind of gets in the way of having a real conversation. So if this device actually works this way, it is going to make it a lot easier for you to have a conversation with someone who does not speak the same language that you do. This is pretty much everything that was announced at the event. We did not get anything about Pixel Pass as it was rumored. We didn't hear about the Pixel Stand 2nd Gen either, as it was rumored. The thing though is that the Pixel 6 Pro does look like a device that is ready to compete with Samsung and is ready up there to challenge what Samsung can offer in the market, not only price-wise, but features-wise. I mean, they did a pretty smart thing, right? Because of the way the cameras are set up,
We're introducing a tinted
the
gray
bump
and a
has
vibrant
to
yellow
be
combination
a big
for
bump.
sophisticated but fun
there's just no way to
vibes.
get around it. But instead of
The
making
next
it a
colorway is our
cluster
take
of
on our iconic
cameras
Google Coral.
on the back
Pastel
of your
pink
device,
paired
like
with juicy
Samsung
red
has
that
done
feels
and Pixel have
inviting
done,
and energetic,
they decided to
accented with a punch from
make
the
it in a
textured
way that
black
it
metal
feels like
band.
it's part of the design of the device instead of
And our dark
something
color
that was
option
just
is
thrown
simple,
together
but not
because they
bland.
didn't know how to
We're
put
using
it
dark gray tones for an
on the phone.
understated and minimalistic
So
look.
that's what I like about the design of the device, is they actually have
And for the
designed the
Pixel 6
phone
Pro, we were
around the
inspired by
camera
high
and
quality
not
finishes used
that
in jewelry
phone
and
and
watches.
then added the
It's
camera
our most
as
refined phone made
Samsung
with
and
polished
Apple
unibody
seem to
metal
have done before.
transitioning.
I will be pre-ordering the device to hopefully get it on time. I will be doing a review on the device as well, so make sure you subscribe for that and you don't miss my Pixel 6 Pro review. This device actually looks like Google is finally putting a lot of effort into making a Pro device. And it shows. It shows so far, based on what we've seen, because it's different when we get it in our hands. So far, it looks like it's taking the right steps to continue moving forward within the Pixel brand. Hopefully it won't go by the wayside like a lot of Google things do. So I really hope that Google continues pushing the Pixel branding forward and upwards. Now that you've seen everything that's revealed, what do you think about the Pixel 6? Are you more excited now about the device than you were before, or do you have some reservations? Let me know in the comment section. That's it for me. Go ahead and subscribe. Give us a thumbs up. It really helps the channel. Go ahead and hit that bell so you can be alerted every time we have new videos. And thank you very much for watching.